Good afternoon. I'm down on one of our boats and I wanted to go through a little bit of information on through-hull fittings, also known as SEACOCKS or ball valves or whatever you want to call them. When beginners are starting to sail, they're not quite sure what's the function of these through-hull fittings, why are they on the boat, and why are they so important. So I'm going to show you some, and then we're going to talk about all the different reasons that they are really important. My goal is to bring a lot of knowledge to you, and through Prudent Mariner, start on a kind of a consistent which things you're going to be maintaining on your boat, which things need some maintenance, which things need servicing, and what you should think about. When I step on a boat that I've not been on before, that's one of the first things that I check is every one of those through-hull fittings. I want to know where they are, I want to know their condition, I want to see if they're weeping, is there any evidence of salt water around them, does the bilges look clean, not clean, is the lever operable? I mean, at the minimum, that's what you want to know before you step on someone else's boat, is are all the things designed to keep you safe actually keeping you safe. So this Prudent Mariner series, I hope you subscribe, I hope you click like. It helps me when you click like on my videos because of course it gives them a little bit more play, they get to pop up a little bit more often, and my goal is to share with sailors, especially new sailors and older sailors, share with you a lot of the things that need to be thought about on the boat. I recently had an experience where I went to someone else's boat to teach some sailing lessons for them, and the first thing that I checked was the through-hull fittings, and they were not operable. And right there, that was it. We were grounded, as you would say. We were not leaving the dock. It didn't matter the condition of the rest of the boat. Through-hull fittings are not operable in an emergency. If that's the device designed to keep the water out of the boat, why are you going anywhere? And I heard someone say, well, it really only matters when it's time for them to be serviced, whether they open or close. Not necessarily so. Check your insurance. Your insurance probably has different ideas about this. And the links that I'm leaving you to the two articles, they're going to give you a lot of information about the 8555, the mix of the different metals that go into these alloys. It's going to reiterate what I said about the dezinkification, about the zinc actually oxidizing, I guess you could call it oxidizing out of the metal, which would make it really weak, feeble, and brittle. And whatever you do, you don't want to, unless you're awfully really careful and you're very close to somewhere where you can get a haul out, you're not going to put a long lever on one of these and start to force it, because if the handle snaps off, okay, there's that. What if the whole unit snaps off? Are you ready to, what are you going to do? You're going to wrap a sail around the boat and hope the water doesn't start to enter rapidly? Have you got, is it somewhere where when it snaps off you can get a wood plug and plug the hole? So you've got to be really careful about forcing things like this, especially if you suspect that the zincs on the boat have not been changed over. There's a lot of electrolysis, all dangerous. So this Prudent Mariner series is designed to help you start thinking about things on boats. What's safe, what's not safe, and what are your actual limits? You know, is it okay if a bilge pump isn't running? Is it okay if this isn't working? You know, how many things have to be wrong before you call, as you say, call a dive, or you say this boat's not safe to go out on? Because I want you to be safe, I want you to enjoy yourself, and it's a lot more fun if you are safe and nothing is going wrong. So we are going to head right down here and check out, ta-da! There is one type of a through-hull fitting, and this is one that has a blanking plug, and this is where our transducer actually is located. So a through-hull fitting is anywhere where you have a hole in the boat where you have something going through the hull. That's one style right there. That one is the one, like I said, for our speed and our transducer. Okay, we're going to head back, and we'll look at a different style back here in the galley. And this is a different one right there. This is a lever that can open and close. And you see this one works pretty well. So talking about the importance of these, so many different factors on here. One of the main reasons that these are important and they need to be in operable condition is because your insurance requires that. If something were to happen to the boat and the boat fails due to this, they actually can tell. They know that that's what happened. They can, just like looking after a fire or an arson, something like that, they can figure out what happened. Same type of thing there. Your insurance company might require these to be closed during a hurricane. That would be another reason that they're really super important. Of going to place here and see if I can find a different style one for you. You want to know where on the boat all of these are located. And it would be good if you have a schematic showing you the location of every single one of these, that you could, if you were in sort of an emergency, some type of panic situation, that you would be able to find it. And you see some water around here because things have just been adjusted, new hose clamps put on, that type of thing. But what these do is they allow water to come in to the boat and go out of the boat. And there are several places where this is going to happen. One of them is under the galley. Show you one under here, down in there. I don't know if you're going to be able to see in there. Okay, so down in that dark spot under the basin is one of the through hulls. And anywhere that you have water that is coming into the boat or water that's leaving the boat, you're going to have a through hull fitting. Where these basins drain outside, that is another spot that you are going to have these fittings, that you will find them. Anywhere where water needs to come in or water needs to leave the boat. In the engine compartment, you're also going to have them because you have water coming in to cool your engine. We have a through hull fitting right back there. These are made of bronze, possibly Marilon or stainless steel, which is very expensive, and they should be UL Marine rated. You don't want something that's not rated for the marine environment. What happens if they are brass, especially below the water line, is that brass is part copper and part zinc, and zincification will occur. And zincification is when it's submerged in salt water, which acts as an electrolyte. The zinc becomes the anodic material. This is all stuff you probably learned in 6th grade science, right? Anyway, it's all got to do with alloys and the electrolysis and the dezinkification, replacing the zinc that is in that metal with something else that is more spongy or porous or brittle, and then the entire valve can fail. They also can end up with a lot of crud inside, which will cause them to fail. If you scratch them and you see a bit of a pinkish color instead of a yellowish gold, it could be that it's going bad. The zinc is dissolving out of the alloy and you're going to need to replace those right away. One of the drawbacks of stainless steel is stainless steel requires oxygen in order to keep its strength, and if there are any like little crevices or places where the threads are, you can have corrosion in those crevices and end up with some sort of a breakdown of the metal. The Marilon is a polymer composite of glass reinforced DuPont Zytel. It is really tough, it resists deterioration, and you don't have that galvanic corrosion. And when you're walking around a marina, look and see if you see any of these wires that are clipped onto someone's backstay or maybe their shrouds, and at the bottom of the wire, if you were to pick it up out of the water, you're going to find a zinc. Sometimes they're shaped like a fish or a mermaid, and that is just to draw some of that electrolysis away from, especially from your prop shaft and from your through hull fittings. That tells you that it is that important that people actually hang a piece of zinc on the side of their boat to draw those stray currents away. That tells you how important it is to avoid that dezinkification. Below the waterline, like I said, marine UL bronze. You can look at ABYC, the American Boat and Yacht Council, for their standards. That's a good place to start and see what's actually recommended. And there are all sorts of, there's Graco and Perkins, and there are all sorts of brands of these things. Marilon would be the only plastic suitable for below the water line. The different types, like I said, you've got some that are a tapered cone and some that are a ball valve, like you might be more familiar with on hose fittings, things like that. That type of a valve that opens and closes. Your insurance may require that your through hull fittings, that your SEACOCKS be to UL and ABYC standards. You'll just have to check your insurance and see. The way to tell brass and bronze, brass is that really smooth, more of a machined finish metal, and bronze are the ones that look kind of lumpier, and that's due to the casting process, and they're more of a bronzy color, where the brass is more almost like rose gold. Mismatched threads, that's a problem. Make sure that's not happening. The base flange is for strength. A lot of the bases are triangular and have 3 points of contact with the hull, and that way when you are moving the lever, you're not swinging that, unseating it or unbedding it from the bottom of your hull. That's something to think about, something to look at. And also, it's not just the piece that's going through the boat that you're worrying about, the metal, but it's also that handle, it's also the joint inside become all corroded and fail. And I've seen some pictures. I'll leave you some links below for some articles that have some fantastic photos that will really show you how badly these things can fail and give you a little bit more information than just this. So those flanged through-hole fittings, that can be stronger than just the ones that are circle. The circle ones can twist and unseat and embed themselves, so that's something to look for if you're looking for very high quality. They'll be the triangular that have 3 points of contact with the boat plus the through-hole portion. That prevents them from twisting. Some of them, the tapered core style, there is an access where you can lubricate them, where you can loosen a nut, and sometimes on an older boat you'll find that they've started leaking, and so someone's tightened it, and so the handles aren't operable. You probably still need to replace, because if you can't operate the handle to shut it off, if you have systems failures, then it's not going to do you much good that it's not leaking at this moment, but is suddenly pouring in water. You don't want brass below the water line. There are some DZR, dezincification resistant brass, or CR brass, that is, say, copper, zinc, tin, and arsenic. It's kind of a weird mix, really. When those are submerged in salt water acts as an electrolyte, and the zinc becomes the anodic metal, and it basically wastes away. It is pulled out of the alloy, leaving the whole fitting very weak, very spongy, even you might call it, and likely to snap off and break. Base failure, valve failure, any part of the whole system can get corroded and dezincify and fail, and that's what you don't want. If you scratch one of these fittings and you see kind of like a pinkish color instead of that yellowish gold, that is what's happening. The zinc is dissolving out of the alloy. You need to replace that one as soon as you can. The proper mix for marine bronze is a copper, tin, nickel, and some other metals. It's like 88% copper, 12% tin, aluminum resists corrosion. So you can look up all the different types, but basically you want to have very good quality. Stainless steel, you can get corrosion in the crevices, because stainless relies on oxygen to keep its film on the outside, and if there's a lack of oxygen somewhere because of threading or whatnot, it can actually start to corrode also. There are ABYC standards for anything like this on your boat that is designed to keep you afloat and keep you safe. Maintenance is going to require regular servicing, frequent use. You're going to make sure that those levers are able to open and close, and when the boat is hauled out, you're going to want to thoroughly inspect from inside and outside. Make sure that you don't have any of that dezincification going on or watts of corrosion. I'm leaving you 2 links below. Fantastic articles that are going to go through a lot of that, and they're going to show you pictures of what it looks like when this happens, so that you can see just how badly these items can fail. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you watching. Please like and share if you have somebody who you think they need to check their through-hole fittings and they would benefit from this. Please subscribe so that you can get the next Prudent Mariner notification, so that you can see what I'm talking about next. I've got a list of about 48 safety items on the boat to discuss, and I want to include you in the conversation. If there's anything I've missed or that you want to add, please do comment below. I love hearing from you, love hearing what you've come across, what you're finding out, and what you're learning as you start this boating. Thanks for watching. Bye.
Comanche Gulf Marina, Comanche Gulf Marina. This is a 32-foot vessel coming in for the restaurant. That's 100 Comanche Cove. Let's switch to our working channel 6A, Captain.